A white build falls apart the second the motherboard underneath does not match. These top 5 best white Z890 motherboard coming up next are the only options actually worth building with in your rig. The MSI Pro Z890-S Wi-Fi White is the easiest way to step onto the LGA 1851 platform without giving up the clean aesthetic. Every visible surface carries a crisp white finish that pops against colored RGB RAM or a white GPU, and MSI extended that theme across the I/O shroud so nothing breaks the flow. Underneath the styling sits a 12 duet rail power system that handles Core Ultra processors comfortably, with enough headroom to push a Core Ultra 7-pass stock clocks without VRM temps becoming a concern. Full PCIe 5.0 support covers the graphics slot and the primary M2, while DDR5 memory compatibility climbs past 8,600 megatransfers per second when overclocked. 3 M2 slots cover storage, though only the primary one arrives with a heatsink. So anyone running high-performance Gen 5 drives in the secondary slots will want to source thermal solutions for those. The rear I/O panel keeps things practical with a healthy mix of USB ports, including a 20 gigabit per second Type-C, 4 10 gigabit Type-A ports, and dedicated HDMI plus DisplayPort outputs for anyone planning to use integrated graphics during a GPU upgrade window. Connectivity stays modern across the board, with Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.4, Thunderbolt 4, and 2.5 gig Ethernet covering anything a gaming or productivity rig could throw at it. MSI also threw in their EZM 2-clip system and a pre-mounted I/O shield, both small touches that shave real time off the build process. What makes this one stand out is the rare combination of accessibility and a genuinely cohesive white finish, which used to be a trade-off nobody could win. First-time builders looking for a clean theme without drowning in complicated overclocking menus will feel immediately at home. It lands as the ideal starting point for anyone planning a minimalist white setup around an Arrow Lake CPU. And the overall package delivers far more than a board at this tier has any right to. The Gigabyte Z890 Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7 ICE takes a purposeful approach to the white theme, borrowing the ICE branding to signal that every surface, from the VRM shroud to the chipset cover, leans into a cool frosted finish. Power delivery comes courtesy of a 16+1+2 configuration using 80 amp smart power stages, which is plenty of muscle for any Core Ultra Series 2 chip, even under sustained workloads like 3D rendering or heavy video encoding. Storage is well covered with 3 M2 slots, one of which supports PCIe 5.0 for next-generation drives that can push sequential speeds past 14 gigabytes per second. Gigabyte leaned hard into ease of installation here with its EZ latch system, which lets builders seat M2 drives and graphics cards without reaching for a screwdriver. A genuinely useful upgrade once anyone has wrestled with a tiny M2 screw sliding into the depths of an open case. Thunderbolt 4, Wi-Fi 7, and 2.5 gig Ethernet round out the connectivity, while the integrated M2 heatsinks keep Gen 4 drives well below thermal throttling thresholds, even during extended file transfers. The audio side of things runs a Realtek codec with DTS:X Ultra processing, delivering respectable sound quality for headsets and desktop speakers without needing an external DAC for most users. Gigabyte also equipped the board with SmartFan 6 technology, which allows granular fan curve tuning across multiple temperature sensors for quieter operation during light workloads and aggressive cooling when the CPU really heats up. The BIOS interface has seen real improvements this generation, with faster navigation and better memory training for QDIM kits, cutting boot times noticeably compared to older Aorus boards. The whole package comes backed by a 5-year warranty, which is longer than most boards in this price range offer, and adds real peace of mind for anyone planning a long-term build, for cost-conscious builders who refuse to compromise on the white theme or modern features. This one quietly handles every responsibility without fanfare. The ASRock Z890 Steel Legend Wi-Fi wraps a snowy white finish around hardware that punches well above its class. ASRock went with an 18+1+1+1+1 VRM phase layout, which is a serious amount of power delivery for a board in this bracket. And it means even a Core Ultra 9285K has more than enough clean voltage to run flat out. Memory support climbs past 9,466 megatransfers per second with the right kit. giving enthusiasts plenty of room to chase sharper timings or higher clocks. 4 M2 slots cover storage needs, and the primary slot uses a screwless release design that makes drive swaps effortless, a small touch that feels huge after the 10th SSD install. 4 additional SATA 6GB ports handle mechanical drives for builders running large media libraries or backup arrays alongside their NVMe setup. Networking covers Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.4, and a Dragon 2.5 gig LAN, plus dual USB 4 ports on the rear for high-bandwidth external gear like external GPUs or docking stations. The rear I/O stacks 10 USB ports in total, giving plenty of headroom for streaming setups running multiple capture devices, microphones, and peripherals at once. A subtle RGB zone sits tucked under the M2 heatsink, which is a nice nod to aesthetic builders without turning the whole board into a light show. And polychrome sync support ties it into the rest of an RGB build with minimal fuss. One thing worth flagging for anyone who tinkers often is the absence of debug code, LEDs, which can make troubleshooting a little more frustrating if something ever goes sideways during a boot. Still, it hits that sweet spot where looks, features, and performance all stack up together, making it an obvious choice for builders who want mid-range pricing with flagship energy. The MSI MPG Z890 Edge T Wi-Fi sits at the top because MSI refused to cut corners on the one detail that separates good whiteboards from great ones, which is the PCB itself. Every heatsink, every shroud, and the PCB underneath all share the same silver-white treatment, so there are no black edges peeking through once the build comes together inside a glass-paneled case. Power delivery rides on a 16+1+1+1 duet rail setup using 90-amp smart power stages, backed by dual 8-pin EPS connectors that give overclockers genuine overhead to push any Arrow Lake chip beyond factory limits. Memory support tops out past 9,200 megatransfers per second with the right CUDIMM kit, and the board includes 5 M.2 slots with the primary running PCIe 5.0 for future-proof storage speeds that will keep up with the next generation of NVMe drives. Killer Wi-Fi 7, 5 gig LAN, and Thunderbolt 4 cover every networking angle, while a supplemental PCIe power connector feeds extra wattage to demanding graphics cards used in AI workloads or high-end gaming at 4K. Benchmark testing has the board completing Blender renders in around 55 seconds paired with a Core Ultra 9285K, while posting over 2,400 points in Cinebench 2024 multi-core runs, putting it within a couple of percentage points of boards costing significantly more. Audio runs through a Realtek ALC1220P codec with optical SPDIF output, delivering studio-grade sound that holds up against dedicated sound cards for most use cases. MSI also tucked an RGB Dragon into the rear I/O shroud that syncs beautifully with other lighting through MSI Center or Signal RGB, adding a small signature touch without clashing with the overall clean look. The EZDIY toolkit rolls in tool-free M2 clips, a PCIe release button, and a snap-in white Wi-Fi antenna that matches the rest of the board. The box itself arrives loaded with extras including a USB drive with drivers, cable labels, thermal pads, and SATA cables, so nothing is missing when the build kicks off. Between the flawless finish, the premium feature set, and the deep installation conveniences, this is the white Z890 board every other manufacturer is chasing. The Asus ROG Strix Z890-8 gaming Wi-Fi represents the moment white motherboards stopped being a novelty and started being serious contenders. Asus swapped the previous generation's black PCB for a light gray and white substrate, which means the heatsinks, shrouds, and PCB all match, creating one of the most cohesive aesthetics in the entire Z890 lineup. The 16+2+1+2 power stage design runs at 90 amps per stage, keeping VRM temperatures around the mid-60s even under a fully stressed Core Ultra 9285K, which leaves tremendous room for overclocking without thermal throttling dragging performance down. 5 M2 slots take care of every storage scenario imaginable, with one running full PCIe 5.0 speeds, and the rest supporting PCIe 4.0 for a blend of cutting-edge and high-capacity drives. Asus built in its full stack of AI features, including AI overclocking, AI Cooling 2, AI Networking 2, and NPU Boost, which automate the tuning process for builders who would rather game than spend hours deep in BIOS menus. The subtle Polymo lighting area on the VRM cover adds a modern flair without going overboard, and customizable patterns sync nicely with other Aura-compatible components. Dual Thunderbolt 4 ports, Wi-Fi 7, and a robust rear I/O loaded with 10 USB ports keep connectivity firmly in the premium bracket. Audio comes from the ROG Supreme FX implementation using the ALC 4080 codec paired with a Savitech amplifier, pushing 32-bit 384 kHz playback that rivals dedicated sound cards for anyone using high-impedance headphones or monitoring speakers. Memory overclocking reaches 9,066 megatransfers per second, backed by DIMFit and DIMFlex technologies that help squeeze stability out of high-speed kits. The Q-release slim mechanism on the primary PCIe slot has been refined to make GPU removal less stressful, and a snap-in Q antenna skips the threaded connection entirely. Anyone building a white-themed enthusiast rig with a Core Ultra 7 or 9 and real ambitions will find this board hits every mark on the checklist. So, which of these white Z890 boards is landing inside the next build? And is the priority pure aesthetics or raw performance? Drop that answer in the comments below and let us know which one deserves the crown.